Hey, all you wickedly wonderful witches out there. This is Wyrd Witchcraft, where we talk about witches, witchcraft, the unseen, and everything in between. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I actually really didn't have a topic. And I was like, what am I going to talk about? So, here's a question for you. Why be a witch at all? Why call yourself a witch? Why is this important? Does it matter? Is it just a title or a word, or what does it actually mean to be a witch? So a little while ago, I wrote up a little thing that encapsulates how I feel about what it means to be a witch. And I thought I would read it for you today. And just to give you a little feel about how I feel about it. Again, this is always all just my opinion, or, if I have guests on, it's the opinion of myself and my guests. It's, if it doesn't make sense to you, don't pay attention to it. It's fine. If it does make sense to you and you get a little something out of it, great. That's what I'm here doing this for. So why be a witch at all? Well, being a witch is just like being a Christian or Muslim or atheist for that matter. It flavors who you are and how we live our lives. It isn't just a title that we call ourselves. Being a witch means you find magic, with a K, in everyday life. That's like a whole nother episode. Magic with a C and magic with a K, and why there's a difference in it doesn't matter, but there is a significant difference in feel, I think. Anyway, personal opinion again. But yeah, being a witch means you find magic in everyday life. You find meaning in small and unseen things. And you look for that sort of stuff. It's a part of everything you do and everything you are. And in this incantation and possibly others, so when I say, or incarnation, sorry, when I say incarnation, I mean in this physical body, in this physical form, at this time in history of the earth, the world, what have you. And you could have potentially been a witch in some of your other lifetimes. Your family could have lineage of witches. It all boils down to, it is an intrinsic part of who you are. I had a friend over a little while ago, and we were talking about the topic of what is it to be a witch. And that was definitely something we both agreed on. Witch means life. It's no different than saying, I'm a teacher, I'm a this, I'm a that, right? It's like, it's this label that we give ourselves for how we consider ourselves, and when you say the word witch, depending on who you talk to, you're going to get a bunch of different connotations as to what that actually means, but you can incorporate a magic of being a witch in your everyday life. Like from stirring a pot of chili on the stove in a certain direction while thinking loving thoughts about the people with whom you're going to share this meal. That is a type of spell. From throwing a dash of salt over your words, a dash of salt in this over your shoulder to rid yourself of bad luck. Or even like if you're readying a space to do any kind of crafting or creating, or like, and it doesn't have to be witch related or craft, like the craft related. It can be something that you're doing or making, and you just like toss a little salt on the area to cleanse the area before. Or people who read cards, they do smoke cleansing. It's just a quick, easy way of incorporating what we believe in everyday life. You know, I like to garden barefoot, and it's just something that I really like. Now, if you're into grounding and that sort of thing, there is a significant physical benefit from doing that. But for me, touching the earth that I'm tilling with my feet brings me a connection that I wouldn't have normally. Like, it brings me more understanding as to what's going on in my garden. And even if, you know, you touch your feet to that soil, does it feel good? Does it feel off? Does it feel weird? Like, this may sound like woo-woo, but honestly, if you are connecting with that, you can get the vibration of how your garden's doing. You know, when you're off on a walk and you've got trees beside you, it's like caressing the tree or the shrub. Or, you know, like, I'm very tactile. I like to touch things. And I find that when I go out into the woods and I go for a walk, or even if I'm just going for a walk with the dog in the neighborhood, I will, like, you know, rub leaves, or I will, like, pick up branches. And there's this one tree that's got some really knobby sticks that I like to pick up, and I'll, like, run them through my fingers, and they're, like, bumpy, and it's just those textures, those sensations, but it's an appreciation for nature and the way that things grow around us, right? Or, you know, what about that tingly feeling that you get when you go to the thrift store, and it's like, ooh, there's something here. There's, like, I can feel it. I know that it's around. I don't know where exactly. And then you stumble upon that thing and you're like, here it is, something good nearby, right? And you pick it up and you're like, yep, this was the thing. I'm taking this puppy home with me, right? You get those little jolts of stuff in your everyday life if you're open to it and you pay attention to it. You know, many of the witches that I know from the beginning of my journey and even until now have always been kind of looking for something bigger and questioning the system that predominates the area that we live, you know, or the place that we have today. And it's like, why do I have to follow what you believe? Why can't I follow what I believe? And I think that that's why, you know, there's a certain book that talks about the narrow path and the broad path. Well, in order to find your narrowed path, you, I believe, need to have a broader perspective. You know, you've heard the saying, knowledge is power. I believe that. But I also believe that that whole knowledge is power thing means that it's your power. The more you know about your world and your surroundings, the more you can make decisions about what you want and what you don't want in your life. So for me, that is why knowledge is power. Because if I only know a small percentage of this one little narrow path, if you will, I'm only ever going to believe that if I don't question why things are the way that they are. So I think a lot of witches that I know and that I've met have that curiosity about their world. Now, granted, I will say that there are some that are just as closed off as other religions out there or other ways of thinking and feeling. There are people out there that are just as filled with animosity, if you will, as others. But in general, when I speak to other witches or people that are on that path, they're curious about their world. They want to know more about what you can just see in front of your face. They want to feel into their lives. They want to be an active member. They want to be the lead character in their lives. You know, they don't want to just sit by and see what happens. They're like, you know, I don't like the way that this is going, so I'm going to do something about this to change this. And I think we've been kind of taught a lot to be okay with our lot in life. And a lot of witches are like, no, I'm not okay with my lot in life. That's why I'm a witch. You know, like, I'm not okay with it at all. I'm going to create what I want. I'm going to do what I want and open myself up to all of this stuff that we're told is garbage or doesn't exist, or it's like, no, that's not real. It's like, well, how do you know? Are you sure? And again, as a witch, you're like, I don't know for sure, but I feel like it is, right? So feeling is a huge part of being a witch and tapping into that energetic source. You can feel the whispered secrets on the wind. You can, you know, even sometimes when we talk about secrets, you can hear someone speak and hear the feeling or the words or the meaning behind the words. You know, not always when we open our mouth to say something are we actually saying what we think or feel, right? And, you know, some people, when they speak what they believe is their truth, you can usually pick up on whether they actually believe it to be true, or whether they're questioning it, or whether or not they're just saying this because it was taught to them and they're regurgitating what was taught, right? So there's also that sense where it's like, if you're open to the subtle vibrations of what's going on around you, you can pick up on a lot of stuff that people don't even realize they are expressing, right? You know, you can feel it in your bones when somebody's lying to you or somebody's not telling you the whole truth. You're just like, there is something just a little janky about what you're saying. It's like, you're not telling me the whole truth, right? Or vice versa, where it's like, you can feel 100% certainty that, like, this person is open and honest and raw, and they are just laying it out there for you, and you can feel that as well, right? So it's not always talking about all the weird hidden woo, oh, they're lying to me. It's also about understanding that when you come towards someone and they're open, you can feel that openness, you can feel that honesty, and you can understand that they're coming from a place of vulnerability. And as a witch, you can go, I recognize this and I'm open to it. I want to be able to vibe with this frequency, right? And it's like, either you resonate with someone or you don't. You know, it's not about love or hate, it's about whether or not you resonate with them. That's for another tale for another time, because that's getting into quantum physics and quantum entanglement and all that. So that's another topic for another time. But being able to tap into that energy and understand the flow of it, and like kind of pick up on when somebody's being honest or somebody's not telling the truth, or it's like you get into a scenario where somebody just had a fight and you walk into the room and you're like, ooh, somebody just had a fight, something's off, something's wrong. Or, you know, a lot of people who are trying to be secretive about relationships they have, it's like they're not as secretive as they think they're being, right? It's like mostly everybody else in the room knows before they're like, hey, you know, we're in a relationship, and everybody usually is like, yeah, we know. It's about time you told us. And then they're surprised, like, oh, we thought we hit it so well. And it's like, not really, no. So when you're able to kind of get in touch with that, you're better able to understand the flow of the universe, the way things kind of weave in and out of this story. It's untangible. Like you can't, well, okay, I was going to say you can't touch it, but that's not necessarily true. But for the general populace, this is something that they just take for granted as this is the way life works. Whereas if you're tapped in and you're tuned in to the flow of energy, you can sense it, you can feel it. You know, it does have a bit of a tangible force to it. You know, but then you can take it and shape it to create what we call our life. You know, there is also an ancestral fear that comes with the persecution of people in the pagan community, persecution of people that weren't even witches. You know, they were either people that had land somebody wanted, or they looked at someone's husband the wrong way and all of a sudden they're a witch. You know, there was a lot of jealousy and covetousness. There it is, got it. Covetousness. That went along with the witch trials, right? And it really didn't have anything to do with witches and witchcraft. It had more to do with people trying to claim power. But in our community as witches and pagans, like, we are highly attuned to that fear of being attacked both verbally and physically, and like we can feel it in our bodies. So a lot of times when we proclaim, well, I don't care what you think, okay, that might be partially true, but as soon as you say that, there is a part of you that is rebelling against that, right? So it's like we're trying to break ourselves free of that at the same time as we a lot of times don't even realize we are in fear of it. Now, I've been fortunate for most of my life. I haven't really been persecuted for being a witch. I haven't really had any negative impact on my life, really. That, you know, like, I didn't have my job affected. I was never threatened with my children being taken away. There, you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into proclaiming I am a witch, depending on where you live and the circumstances, that there can be a lot of fear around that. So there's also that proponent of secrecy. You know, keep it under wraps. Don't tell anybody. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Which is where we have a lot of our symbolism that has developed throughout the years, right? It's like, how do you tell another witch when you're not supposed to be talking about it? Well, maybe the first time they come over to your house, they're like, here, I found this little acorn here. I thought you might like it. So that's kind of like a calling card. Like, just, I don't know what you're, you know, if you're a witch, you'll know what this means. If you're not, it's just an acorn, right? So there are things that we've incorporated into what we do in our everyday life that stem from things that have come from our ancestry. And there are people, when they say, I am a witch and I am a this type of a witch, they have a set of rules that they have accepted for themselves. Now, for me, I don't know what I am. I don't think of myself as a flavor of the month witch, but maybe I am, because I go with whatever feels right at the time. And it could be candles, it could be crystals, it could be herbs, it could be nothing for a little while. Sometimes I go with the moon cycles, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I celebrate the Sabbats, sometimes I don't. But I always know that in my day-to-day life, I have certain things that stem from my desire to connect more deeply. You know, like, I take my coffee black so I don't have to stir anything into it. But even when I pour my coffee, you know, it's not just coffee. It is a magic elixir, you know. It's, and you think about it, and it's like when you focus on this is what I'm incorporating even into my cup of coffee or whatever it is you drink. You know, when you eat your meal, what part of your body are you nourishing? You know, like I take a lot of fruit with me when I go to work, and you know, I have a bunch of different colors, or fruits and vegetables. So I have a bunch of different colors. So even when I'm preparing it or cutting it up, it's like, okay, this is an orange. So orange is the sacral chakra. This is going to feed my energetic body. It's going to feed my creativity and that sexual center of creation that helps me to want to do things. You know, it's like, okay, well, this is a yellow pepper that I'm cutting up. So this is going to be for my solar plexus. It's like, what does the solar plexus do? Well, it's the seat of your clairs, your clairsentience, clairaudience, clair whatever. You know, it's like that is where your psychic center is. Everybody thinks it's here. That's another tale for another time. But you know, it's like when I eat this yellow pepper, what is it going to nourish? It is also an energy center. It's going to nourish my body in a way that helps me to tap into my intuition, tap into things that are bigger than myself, right? So as you go through, it doesn't have to do color, but as for me as a witch, I think about those things. I think about what I'm putting into my body and what it's going to do. Like this coffee, for instance, it's going to make me not want to murder people, right? Right? You know, and then like going into terms of color, you know, depending, I don't always do it, but like when I wear green, what does green do for me? Green helps me to heal. It's a healing color for me. It reminds me of the heart center. I want to be open and honest, which oddly enough, the funny thing is the shirt that I have for my uniform at work is green. It's like a nice dark green, and I freaking love it because when I put it on, it reminds me that this isn't just a job, it's also a place where I can fill up my soul because I'm out in nature, and I'm a little bit more open to talking to people about, isn't this such a great place to be, right? Whereas maybe if the shirt were, I don't know, brown, I might be like, yep, we deal with dirt, it's fine, have a nice day. You know, I don't know, I'm just making up stuff now, but well, I mean, we all make up stuff, right? But I feel like when we talk about what it means to be a witch, it just is everything. And we incorporate so many little things in our lives that we don't even sometimes really think about. I was like, why do you wear that necklace? What does it symbolize to you? Why do you do the things that you do? Like even our morning routine is our morning ritual. You get up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you have your coffee, you know, and it's something that you do. But if you're doing it every day, why can't it have its own little piece of magic in it? Why can't it be a part of the magic you create for yourself as a witch? You know, if you have any kind of meditation practices or that sort of thing, you can incorporate that belief into those as well. It doesn't have to be separate. Your life is not separate from the title of witch. Okay, so I think I'll step off my soapbox for today and leave you guys with that. I hope you got something out of that today. Today just kind of seemed like a blah, because I honestly didn't really have any idea for what topic to talk about. If you have any ideas about things that you want to learn about or episodes, let me know. I am happy to see where this goes. I have a few coming up that are not of a witchy bend. They're a little bit more metaphysical, so if you're into that, I guess stay tuned. If not, that's fine. Wait for the next witchy one. I guess do something nice for yourself today. Again, I always say grab your favorite beverage and enjoy it. Coffee, non-murdery liquid. Or go for a walk in the woods. Pet a random stranger's dog if they'll let you. Go to your favorite store and buy yourself a little treat because damn it, you deserve it. Anyway, that's it for me today, and I hope you guys have an absolutely magical day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.